Go.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
So thank you for coming to this event at Creative Arts. I'd like to request everyone to please turn off their cell phones and please do not talk while the students are speaking. Today we have 3 graduates, Akash Srivedi, Debayan Sen, and Reva Sadi. Our chief guest is Mrs. Kilker, and she will be handing out the certificates. So,
You want to invite?
Mrs. Kilker, you
No,
may
she's
come
not
up.
here, so you can invite Akash.
Okay, so the first speaker may come up. So.
No, he's not the first speaker. He
Oh.
introduced the first speaker.
Okay.
So, today our first speaker is going to be Debayan Sen. He's an 8th grader at William Diamond Middle School. In his free time, he likes to do math, play baseball, play badminton, and plays viola. Recently, he has visited the country of India, and he visited Calcutta and Delhi, and he was mesmerized by the brilliant Taj Mahal. So, Deb, come on up.
Okay, so thank you for Akash for introducing me so well. And as he mentioned, I was memorized by the Taj Mahal. So you all are probably guessing, today I'm going to be talking about India, my trip to India. So I'm going to be talking about a few things. I'm going to be talking about what I did in India, when my trip there, what I did. I went to Kolkata and Delhi, so I'm going to talk about some activities I did there. And also, I'm going to talk about my likes and dislikes for India, because I have a few of those when I go there. So we left on December 25th, Christmas Day, and our route was from Boston to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Delhi, and Delhi to Kolkata. And now, here's the catch with airlines and all this stuff. For any of you, since I see a majority of an Indian crowd here, you all know that going to India can be really tough. Like, you have to it's really tough to go to India because it's just such a long trip. In Amsterdam, we had an 8-hour stop, and to add on more, in Delhi, we had a 10-hour stop. So, I mean, me and my mother went, and my father went separately. So, it was kind of hard for us to just go through all that. And while we were in India, I mean, in Delhi, 10-hour stop was just unbearable for us. But now, since I mentioned before that there's a majority of an Indian crowd here, and as you all know, there's a lot of jokes about India and a lot of funny things about India. And Paresh uncle told me that if I needed a joke anytime, I could just text him and he'd text me one about India. So I have one, assuming you all know Hindi. What does one milk carton say to the other milk carton? Anyone know? What's up, dude?
Oh.
For people who don't speak Hindi out there, dude means milk in Hindi and in Bengali. So what does one milk carton say to the other milk carton?
Wow.
Dude. And it sounds like dude. So that's the funny part. So when we arrived in India, we went to stay in this complex named South City, which is also in South Kolkata. And there we did a few things. We went to a few parties. I remember this one party that we went on the Ganges River on this boat, and it was like a party. It was really fun. It was like a new experience for me because most parties that I go to here are like in a normal house, but this one was on a boat. This was out in the water. We were floating in the water. It was going by a bridge that I cannot remember its name. And I thought that was very fun, but at that time I was very jet lagged, so I couldn't really enjoy it. And then also for New Year's, we also went to a South City party, which was very nice because they had, again, a nice big dance floor, a lot of loud noises, a lot of drunk people. So, I thought it was very amusing to see that, especially from my perspective. And in Kolkata, there's nothing really big like the Taj Mahal. Sure, you have Victoria Memorial. But, I've already been to Victoria Memorial, so Kolkata for me is just for going to see my relatives. I saw my aunt and uncle there. I saw some of my great uncles, a lot of my father's side of the family, which I love because it's very nice to see my family every once in a while since I go around every 2 years. And another place I also went in Kolkata was Science City, where it's like a lot of science. How do I say this? It showed a lot of science projects. It allowed you to interact with things. There was this one structure I remember. It was like a cylindrical tube thing that you walked into, and the top of the tube was spinning like a propeller. So when you were walking in, it seemed like you yourself was spinning, but it was an illusion. And I thought that was pretty neat. But moving on from Kolkata, we left Kolkata after 10 days, and then we went to Delhi. And in Delhi, one of the first things I saw was the Taj Mahal. And Akash explained very wellly that I was memorized by the Taj Mahal. I mean, I still am. I mean, it was such an amazing structure to see. I mean, it's just so beautifully simple. I mean, you could just look at it. I mean, like, it's like from a far distance, it just looks so nice to look at. I mean, you could just sit there the entire day, bring like a basket of food, sit there and just watch it the entire day. I mean, it's so nice to look at. And like, it's like once you get closer, you start to see all the designs and everything. And what I think, like, it's so symmetrical, all the designs, that you can just literally fold a Taj Mahal in half. And like, and everything will align up perfectly. And I just thought the Taj Mahal was absolutely fantastic. Of course, there was a lot of history behind it, which I cannot remember because I'm not very good at history. And also we went to the Agra Fort, which is a fort made by like emperors and rulers back then. We also went to Red Fort. We drove by where all like the government people stay. And I thought Delhi was very nice to look. It was a new experience for me because most of the time when I go to India, I go to mainly Kolkata. Of course, my parents had to lead the way because I don't know Hindi personally. So it was very nice to go into an environment where I couldn't even speak at all because in Kolkata they speak Bengali and I speak Bengali. But now I want to be talking about what I liked and disliked about India. I want to get the dislikes out of the way because I don't want to end it on a negative note here. So when I first go to India, the first thing I want to do is, of course, sleep because I'm seriously jet lagged. It was a huge journey. But the thing about India is that you have to get accustomed to all of this, how do I put it, like dogs barking outside, really loud honking, and then towards later in our trip, you have like these like, and I know I'm like, this course is all about public speaking, but I swear politicians can sometimes be really annoying sometimes. Like I'm upstairs, I was on the 20th floor, you see, and I'm trying to get some sleep, and then I hear like politicians like screaming into their microphones, and I'm on the 20th floor for crying out loud. Like how can I hear this? I mean, you'd think on the 20th floor you would have some like restriction of sound, but nope. It's like they are screaming loud into my ear, and then to add on to that, these politicians would have music while playing. And this happened during the weekend, and I thought, okay, it's the weekend. Maybe it'll be over after a while. I mean, it's the weekend, everyone's having a good time. But no, it happens on Mondays, it happens on Tuesdays, it happens on any day they choose to. I thought that was particularly annoying when I went there. Also, I mean, some other annoying things you have to deal with there is like the usual pollution and dust. I mean, the dust usually gets me the most because that causes me a lot of sneezing for me, and I can't take sneezing a lot. But the one thing that actually stood out for me the most is that this was a new experience for me. Like when I went to Delhi, I actually saw that a lot of the people there are really persistent when they're trying to sell you something. You know those salesmen that call you constantly on the phone trying to get you to buy something. There it's worse. I mean, they're trying to like make you buy something. And what's the bad thing is that when you buy something, you can't even like stop. Like they keep asking you to buy more and more and more and more. I mean, and I thought that was a really annoying experience for me because before I wanted to see the Taj, but I mean, there were just too many people trying to get me to buy things, which I thought was really annoying. And also the heat was a problem because for people who have been to India, which I'm assuming most of you have, that there's no heat there. For me, there was no heat, and in the winter time it's quite chilly there, especially in Delhi and in Kolkata. So I thought, and since there's no heat there, you have to really buckle in your house and wear blankets, wear sweaters. You have to stay really well protected in your house. And to conclude it all, today I talked about what I did in Kolkata and what I liked and disliked about India, and I hope I've inspired you all to one day visit India, but be prepared to encounter what comes. Any questions?
No, it's good. Did you bring any sweets for us, sir?
My father should have, but...
How is the weather there?
How's the weather?
Yeah.
The weather is, during the winter time, this is the first time I've gone in the winter, it's quite chilly. During summer, I don't, the last time I went, summer was a very long time ago, but the summer, I usually hear there's a lot of typhoons, a lot of raining. During the February time when you go in February, it's actually quite nice. It's nice and humid, it's warm. But the time I went, it's definitely not a time you should probably go because then it's expensive, first of all, the airplane fares because it's Christmas time and all. And second of all, I usually try to go away from India go away from the U.S. when it's like really chilly here, but there's also like quite chilly as well. So, any more questions? Yes?
Did you like the food there?
Did I like the food there? Oh yes, I love the food. Okay, I forgot to mention this. I love the food in India. Like, I absolutely adore the food in India. Like when I go to India, like the food there, it's like American food, but it's not fattening. Like I can eat as much as I want, and I will not get fat. And I love the food there.
So what is your favorite food there? What's the favorite?
My favorite food was, I got really attached to this dish called lollipop chicken. It's like a drumstick, but it's so delicious. It's really delicious. And if you guys go to India one day, you have to have lollipop chicken. It's like, you'll find it anywhere, trust me. It's absolutely amazing. Of course, I love biryani, I love palau, I love luchi. Whenever I go to my relative's house, they will not stop giving me luchi, so I love that. And so I thought the food was very nice, yes?
How did you like the fact that you could walk to the mall and the parks and everything?
The fact that I can walk to the mall?
Mall and the parks.
Oh
and
yeah, the difference
pizza
between
shops and everything.
difference between here and India is that I love the convenience in India. So like whenever I'm walking in India, like here the problem is like my parents. It's no problem for my parents. I mean, if they want to go somewhere, they can just hop into their car and go away. But the problem with me is that nothing is really close by for me. Like, yeah, sure, I can bike, but it's chilly in the winter. And like my transportation is kind of limited. In India, where I can just go out whenever I want and get like a pizza if I want to. I have a Domino's really nearby. I lived in South City, so the South City Mall was very nearby. And the South City Mall is very well known for being very large and very nice. So I thought it was amazing that I could just walk anywhere I wanted to, and the convenience there is just so nice. Any more questions?
Thanks. Good job.